In this section, we will talk about a concept called bill of materials in Tally, which is related to manufacturing process. So what is a bill of material? A bill of material refers to a list which constitute components of items that goes into manufacturing process to become a finished product. So by using bill of materials in Tally, we can derive at cost of finished product, which is a result of manufacturing process. Now on your screen we have an example of what bill of material looks like. This bill of material contains list of items that goes into making of a PC, and it states that a PC is made up of 1 unit of monitor, CPU, keyboard, a mouse and 2 units of speaker, and the rate of each unit is also present in this bill of material. Now based on the given information, we can arrive at the cost of building a PC, which would be 47,000 rupees. So in Tally we can define all the bill of material and its items, and then we can process to develop a finished product, and the finished product then will have its own cost and it can be treated as inventory like stock item. Now in Tally we will go by the same example where we will develop a PC and we will define a bill of material using the given components. Now let's open Tally. Now in order to proceed with bill of materials, first we will need to enable it. So at the gateway of Tally, press the F12 key and select the option accounts and inventory info, and in the screen that follows you need to enable this option, enable component list details, by changing it to yes, and then press Ctrl A to save the settings. So bill of materials has been enabled in our company. Now before we proceed with actual bill of materials, let me set up some inventory information like creation of some stock groups called as raw materials, and change this option should quantities of items be added to yes, and save the group creation. Similarly, I will create a group called finished product and change the option to yes over here as well, and save the group creation. Now after I set up the group information, let me create stock items, which would be the components that would go into making of a PC. And instead of creating individual stock items, it is preferred to create multiple stock items under the group raw materials. So the PC that I am going to build would require a monitor, and it will be counted in units. So I created a stock unit called unit, so I'll select it over here, and then I'll specify my another component which would be CPU, also counted in units, and similarly I will keep on adding all the components that will go into making of a PC. Alright, so I have defined all the components and I will press Ctrl A to save these details of stock items. Now I will create a stock item for finished product. So this time I will select the option create under single stock item, and over here I will name my finished product as Ultra PC, which would be the name of the PC which I am going to build, and I will select its group as finished product, and it would be counted in units as well, and I will press the F12 key, and we have an option at the bottom which is enable component list details. So change this option to yes, and then navigate to that option called set components BOM and press Y and press the enter key, and we would be asked to define a bill of material to enlist the components which would be going into making of this Ultra PC. So I will name my bill of material as Ultra PC bill of material and press the enter key, and in the field unit of manufacture enter the number 1, and then specify all the stock items which we have defined to build this PC. So this PC consists of 1 unit of monitor, 1 unit of CPU, 1 unit of keyboard, 1 unit of mouse, and 2 units of speakers. And press Ctrl A to save this bill of material, which would produce 1 unit of PC. So I'll press Ctrl A. So I just defined a bill of material and saved it, and press Ctrl A again, and then press Ctrl A again at stock item creation. Now in order to assemble and develop a PC, we would require to purchase all the components. So what we are going to do is we are going to purchase the stock items for monitor, CPU, keyboard, mouse, and so on, and then store them in the company's godown. And in order to store purchased items in a godown, we need to enable godown management in Tally by pressing the F11 key, and in the inventory features screen we have an option called maintain multiple godowns, and change this option to yes, and then press Ctrl A to save the settings. And now press the escape key, and at the inventory info menu, which is under inventory info over here, we will define a godown called Sarojini Nagar godown, because this godown is located in this particular location, and then press Ctrl A to save the godown creation. So we just defined a godown where we will store our raw materials. Now before we proceed, we are also required to set up few things, and those things are related to stock journal. So like accounting vouchers, we have something called inventory vouchers, where we record transactions related to inventories like movement of goods from one godown to another and so on. So in order to record such entries, we use something called stock journal. So this is the default screen for stock journal, but what we are going to do is we will define our custom stock journal, where we will use it along with manufacturing process. So what we are required to do essentially here is to modify the stock journal so that it can match with our manufacturing requirements. And in order to modify a voucher, we go to accounts info menu, select the option voucher types, and select the option create, so that we can create our own custom vouchers. So my custom voucher would be named as manufacturing journal, and this is a kind of stock journal which I am going to use for the sake of manufacturing. So I'll set this option use as manufacturing journal to yes, and then press Ctrl A and save the manufacturing journal. Now if I go back and check the manufacturing journal in the inventory vouchers option, and let me press Alt F7 so that I can select my custom manufacturing journal. So you can see over here that the required options for stock journal along with manufacturing options have been enabled, and I can use it in my manufacturing process. And let me now press the escape key and proceed with recording purchase of all the raw materials. So as usual, we will record a purchase entry along with the stock items that we have purchased. So assuming that the supplier invoice number is 233, purchased on 1st of April, and I purchased these raw materials from Raghu Traders, and I will use the purchase account ledger to account for this transaction. And let me proceed with entering the items which I have purchased. So I purchased few monitors. Now as soon as you specify the item which you have purchased, you would be asked to specify the godown, and you can press the spacebar key to toggle the list of godown and select the godown where you are storing this purchase, and then specify the number of units which you have stored in this particular godown. So I stored 100 units of this monitor at 15,000 in Sarojini Nagar godown. And further, you can also keep selecting different warehouse or location or your showroom where you have stored another 20 units of same item. So with such setting, we can decide at the time of purchase where you want to store certain quantities of the items which you have purchased. For our example, we are not required to store any item at different location, so we will remove this line by pressing Ctrl D. We are just storing 100 units of this monitor in our godown. Similarly, I will record purchase of various raw materials and store them in our godown. Alright, so I have entered all the required information and then press Ctrl A to save this purchase entry. Alright, so we are done with 50% of the work which is required to manufacture a finished product. In the next video, we will look at the remaining 50% of the work we are required to develop a finished product and arrive at the cost of product.